There is a low testosterone epidemic. It's true. Levels have been declining for decades. In fact, if you're watching this and you're a man, there's a 40% chance your testosterone levels are lower than they should be.
I'm a man, Peter. I've got an ocean of testosterone flowing through my veins.
We're going to talk about how you can raise them. Ways that have been shown to raise testosterone predictably and reliably. Let's go.
Oh, Sal's back.
And so I'm going to start with the first point, and then we'll go back and talk a little bit about this epidemic, just so people get the first point. So one of the first things you could do to raise your testosterone is to test certain key nutrients, because there are certain nutrient deficiencies that are relatively common in men that will predictably cause lower testosterone. What are they? Vitamin D, zinc, and magnesium. If you're low in any of those or all of those, you are going to have depressed testosterone levels. And the rate of deficiency that we see in vitamin D and magnesium in particular is very high. It's actually a significant minority. Some studies say a majority of people.
Are they inversely related? So is it like if you've got low one, you're probably low the other? I mean, is it almost always connected that way?
Not D, but zinc and magnesium tend to, if you have low in one, you tend to have low in the other.
And vice versa. If you have low testosterone, you probably have those low? Is that?
Maybe. So here's why this is number one, is because if it's a fast, easy fix, right? So if you're among the 50, 60% of men, some studies will say even more, who are low in vitamin D, and then you supplement with vitamin D, you will see a rise in testosterone. If you're low in zinc and your levels are low, and then you supplement with zinc and fill that deficiency, your testosterone levels will go back up. Same thing with magnesium. So it's an easy fix if this is indeed your problem. But let's back up for a second and talk about this epidemic. This is like a real thing.
Yeah.
They've been observing this now for decades.
Well, it's crazy when you think about that.
Yeah. So just over the last 2 decades, we've seen an average drop of 25%. But if you go back further, this has been observed since the 80s, where you're just seeing these consistent decline in testosterone.
The problem is there's no smoking gun. There's not like one thing. It's like it seems like there's a ton of different things that are causing this.
Yes. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff that can definitely help, but there might be an environmental contributor to this, because it's really weird to see these levels continue to drop.
Yeah, real weird.
But no, there's something going on, but again, there are ways you can reliably raise them. Now, the range of what's considered normal at testosterone is wacky. Okay, so here's what the range is. If you go to your general practitioner and get your testosterone levels checked, your total testosterone, and we're not going to talk about free testosterone. I know that's what matters, but then we're going to start getting into the weeds. So let's just talk about total. The range of what's considered quote unquote normal for total testosterone is 265, some say 300, some maybe a little higher, whatever, but generally it's about 265 to about 923 nanograms per deciliter. Now, if you're like, that's a big gap, you're right. That's 265 to 923.
Yeah, three times the amount.
Like, what's going on here? Yeah. Well, what's going on is we just see people all over the place in this, and the data will show that being kind of in the higher end is probably optimal. So you could be 300 and be considered quote unquote normal, but you're probably low testosterone.
Well, and it's also important to understand where you came from. This is why we've seen just in the last decade a ton of these testosterone clinics pop up all over the place. And because we've needed more conversations around the guy who goes in who's 45 years old and he tests at 325 and his general practitioner goes, "Oh, you're fine." But what he didn't know is that guy was Doug 20 years earlier, where testosterone was hovering around 1,400 for most of his life, and now he's at 300 and something, and because he doesn't fall off the charts as dangerously low, all his symptoms that he's getting that are attached to low testosterone are getting ignored because they think he's fine. That's the problem.
We've come a long way. So with these clinics, these hormone replacement clinics, they look at your numbers, but they also look at your symptoms. Because it could be within that range, but you could have signs of low or symptoms of low testosterone, which are like depression, low motivation, poor sleep, low sex drive. You're just not recovering from your workouts. You're gaining body fat like you haven't before. You seem to be not able to build muscle like you could before. Those are all signs of low testosterone. So if you have those signs, plus you measure and it's in the lower end, then you probably qualify for.
It's interesting that it's like we got this wrong, not only with men but also women. This is like we just had a recent conversation with the doctor around menopause and just the testing for and the perimenopause that could be 10 years before your hormones could be off. But then again, when they look, general practitioner looks at it like, oh, you're okay, you're fine, but far from optimal, and they have all these crazy symptoms. Seems like men have something similar when it comes to testosterone and free testosterone.
Yes.
Why? Like, why those two things would we be so off on with as far as we are in science and we understand like hormones?
It's changing. It's because you see different symptoms on different levels. So like an example would be like your androgen receptor density, which we'll actually talk about, which means how many androgen receptors you have. If you have more androgen receptors, your testosterone is essentially more powerful. It's got more places to dock or attach to. So, for example, there was a study done a while ago where they compared different men who had normal, healthy levels of testosterone, but they were within a particular range. And then they looked at how they responded to strength training. And the hypothesis was that the men with higher testosterone would respond better to the strength training than the men with lower testosterone. But what they actually found was what was a stronger correlate was the androgen receptor density. So they had men with lower testosterone that responded better, but they have better androgen receptor density. So that's why it's kind of like with that hormone. Now, other hormones, it might be different, but I think you have to look at both. The most cutting edge hormone doctors and specialists now talk about symptoms along with numbers, not just looking at
now
numbers.
it's the flip-flop, right? Now they look at symptoms first. And then it's like, and then the only reason why they might not is if it's like, okay, you have already abnormally high.
But again, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I've just had this question forever because, like, we talk about free testosterone and, like in terms of like testosterone, you're high testosterone, but it's bound. Like how does it get bound up? Like where's it binding up in?
So that's when we get into the weeds, but there's a chemical in the body called sex binding hormone globulin, I think it's called, that will attach to testosterone, making it inert, essentially. It doesn't work. So free testosterone is what counts. Some nutrient deficiencies can cause that. There may be other genetic factors that do this. If you have really, really high total testosterone, the odds are you're gonna have a high level of this also to make your testosterone less effective. It's almost like a check and balances. Okay, or maybe one causes the other. It might be inverse. But again, we're going to focus on total because then it gets real.
I was just curious because that was always like, because I've heard some people that had high testosterone, but it was like not free.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about the things again that will make a dent for most people.
Yeah, number one was
nutrient deficiency.
It's like, and that's
because if you have that, if you have that and you supplement with it, you will bring your levels back up to a normal range.
So did you order these two in that of like what you think? Okay, so if it was a client and we're trying to get to the bottom of this, right? I'm going to have them, boom, go test those first.
That's right.
Over 60% of the population is low on magnesium.
Yeah.
And then vitamin D, I believe, is up there also.
It is.
So there's already a 50-50 shot that you're low on that. So simply supplementing that could make this difference.
And it's an easy fix.
And it's easy. It's cheap,
very
easy. You don't need to see a doctor. It's just simple. Go get it done.
That's right.
And then the next one is what?
Get good sleep. Get good sleep. So they did a study on young men. These were young men, so resilient. So, but by the way, a man's natural testosterone is very reactive to his environment and his lifestyle. So it can go up and down depending on what's going on. And in 1 week of poor sleep, so they took a bunch of college-age males, athletes, so they're resilient, and they had them sleep 6 hours a night, which is not uncommon for college kids, right? 6 hours a night. Yeah. And they all saw a consistent drop in testosterone, about 50. About what you're saying is that sleep is such an interesting, crazy mystery in the sense that like if evolution, right? If you believe in evolution, if evolution could have figured out sleep, it would have. You're totally defenseless. Yeah. You're not gathering resources. You're not working. Every animal sleeps. So to try to hack that and figure it out, I mean, we have ways of getting you to perform better after a poor night of sleep,
right?
But we have not figured out how to get you to sleep less and get the same effects.
I imagine like all of like there's got to be a way, like the things that cause like high cortisol and that cause the restless, like having a hard time sleep. When we solve it by there's this chamber that you sit in for,
it's like anti-gravity
something. I don't know what that looks like, or else I would have invented it, right? But there's got to be be the next biggest thing in our space to like just unlock the next level of health and longevity and performance.
I would be great because this is a big deal. I mean, poor sleep is so common now.
It's connected to everything.
It is, and it's so common now because of electronics, because of our cell
We'll
phones.
be vampires when we figure it out.
Yeah. Say what?
We'll be vampires.
No.
Yeah, that's how they sleep.
It's such a chronic issue across the board. Kids have terrible sleep now because of tech, and it causes so many problems. And testosterone suffers dramatically. By the way, if you have sleep apnea or you snore, you could be getting 8 hours of quote unquote sleep, but you're going to have low testosterone from that because your sleep quality is bad. So it's not just how long you sleep, it's also the quality of sleep. So like you look at studies on sleep apnea and snoring, and that causes consistent low levels in testosterone as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of push for the mouth tape, and to kind of address that specifically. But I guarantee the high majority of people have apnea they don't realize.
They don't realize it. All right, next up is to lift weights. Lifting weights is one of the most predictable ways of increasing androgen receptor density. As your body builds muscle, the receptors that testosterone attaches to increase in the body reliably. This is the only form of exercise that has been shown to do this on a consistent basis. Now, all forms of exercise improve your health. The downstream effect of improving your health, if you do it right, is probably better testosterone and maybe a little bit of an androgen receptor improvement. But strength training directly does this. It's like, boom, we're going to increase androgen receptors in the body. So if you have a level of testosterone, let's say a 400, which is on the lower range of the one that I gave, let's say your total testosterone is 400, but you double your androgen receptor density, it would be like having testosterone levels that are 800.
Right.
So you've just dramatically increased the effectiveness and impact of your career, and that's just lifting. Lifting weights does this.
What does the research say as far as how minimal amount? Like, what's the least amount that you need to do to reap some of these benefits? And then, okay, so 2-part question: what's the least amount to reap some benefits, and where's the optimal fall?
It's probably least amount is like
Once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, just to stop muscle loss.
Right.
But one strength training sessions a week will do this. 2 days a week for most people will get you really far.
That's probably actually. I'd argue if we have to keep the entire population in mind and the levels of stress, poor sleep, so that optimal is probably only 2.
That's right.
Because there's a lot of people that 3, you would think 3-4 times a week would be better for them, not necessarily be better for them because of how much stress they already have in their life. So it's probably 1 to 2 times a week, strength, full body routine.
With every client that I ever trained, this was ideal. Was 2 days a week, and for most of my clients. Also, by the way, there's a couple things.
And keep this in mind also, because I know that people hear that right away. It's like, this is not the most optimal for building a bodybuilder physique or becoming the best athlete. We're talking about health and longevity.
Yes, and you need to move every day. We're talking about strength training. Okay, so you should move every day. You should try to get 10,000 steps a day. But when it comes to strength training, 2 days a week will get you really, really far, really far. By the way, you can do a lot with 2 days a week because you can progress the workouts and change the workouts for a while. I mean, I had clients that I got incredibly strong and fit 2 days a week over the course of 3 or 4 years. So if you've been working out consistently strength training for 3 years and you've seen yourself progress, which you will, and then you want to add an extra day, go for it. But most people don't need to.
Yeah.
2 days a week is great. Yeah. Next, avoid those forever chemicals. Avoid those hormone disrupting xenoestrogens that are found in so many different things
everywhere.
And this is probably one of the smoking guns to the low testosterone.
You think so?
This is where all the data is pointing. All the data is starting to suggest. It's not
I feel
clear
like when you
yet.
start to look for it, it starts popping up in so many places in your house that you didn't realize. Like, I mean, I brought up Pam the other day, and it's just like the air fresheners and all the cleaning products and all of just like stuff in the bathroom that we're using. So I don't know. It seems rather harmless when you individually kind of select one of them, but it's like
they're
everything
everywhere.
in there. It's like a compilation of all of them.
I'm not arguing that, but I don't know if I buy that it's the smoking gun. Not that I don't think that it's making a difference, right? That's not my point. But I just think that the movement and sleep have to be some of the most important when it comes to that. And in the time frame you're talking about, we have seen a dramatic reduction in both of those two.
Yeah. So what you're saying is what
it's accelerated.
Yeah, all the research is saying it's most likely obesity, right? So nobody's exercising like they used to. We're eating garbage, and the chemicals. That's where the point is. Like that three combination.
And sleep.
Oh, and sleep. So poor health, right? So poor health, and then the chemicals. Yeah.
That's what makes the most sense to me. And then I just feel like these chemicals are like just pouring gasoline.
But I'll tell you what. Here's how bad they are. Here's how bad they are. Like there's people. This happens. I mean, it's not rare, where you'll get a kid or an adult man go to the doctor because they have symptoms of high estrogen, like gynecomastia or other things
in kids,
and they'll identify that it's some of the some chemicals that they're exposed to.
So, and don't you think too? This is also in the context of overeating. Yeah, there seems to be
excess body fat will do it.
Yes, there seems to be this, like, if you were taking in it. I mean, I remember this even in a like. It felt like when I was dieting really strict, like I could get away with foods and things I knew my body didn't agree with when I was low calorie. Yeah. Than if I was in a surplus, those same foods. And so I would think that even the forever chemicals have a similar situation going on. It's like they're not good for your body no matter what. Just like those foods I'm intolerant aren't good for me no matter what. But in the context of overeating and a surplus, they seem to harvest or cause way more damage.
Your speculation is on point, right? Because fat does store certain toxins. Okay, so there are certain chemicals and stuff that will get stored in body fat. Your body's ability to detox is also hampered when you're constantly feeding yourself. In a calorie deficit, you have more cell autophagy, you have faster cell turnover, and faster detox pathways. This is why fasting is often used in quote unquote detox regimens. So no, it's a combination.
Filter everything out.
Yeah, but it's like here's a huge one, a huge offender for these chemicals: candles. You know how many times I go over people's houses and they're burning candles and I smell them and right away I'm like, I know what I'm breathing in.
Yeah.
I'm breathing in.
It gets funky sometimes.
Chemical estrogens.
Like, dude, we got to take care of this. But yeah, it is total chemicals you're throwing out there.
100%. Candles, perfumes, scented products, deodorants, hair gels, face creams.
Speaking of that,
it's like plastic containers that we use all the time. It's nonstick anything, cookware, that kind of stuff. Like they're just all over the place, and you add them all up, and we're bombarded with chemicals that act like estrogen. They react with the estrogen receptor.
I really believe, though, so much of it has to do with in the context of overeating. I think because we are in this perpetual state of overfed, that then you throw these things, and I think that's what has made them look so bad,
more vulnerable.
I think so now it's
a
like
perfect storm.
It is the perfect storm, and so now it's like these things are so bad. It's like shit. Those things have always been very bad for us, but in the Great Depression, when nobody could find calories, they put no big deal. Well, they were breathing in fucking chemicals at factories and all kinds of shit.
To be very clear, the chemicals I'm talking about, they've ramped them up over the last few decades.
Sure.
Yeah, so like chemical exposure during the Great Depression was like asbestos and like cyanide,
gasoline.
Like you're gonna die right now. The ones we're exposed to now don't really kill you. They just slowly change
silent
over time.
offenders.
Yeah, dude, and then your kids get changed, and so on and so forth. Lastly, there are supplements you can take that have been shown to help raise testosterone levels if your testosterone's low. The most reliable one that I've seen in data is D-aspartic acid. So this is a form of an amino acid that you can take. It will raise luteinizing hormone, and you will see a spike in testosterone and sperm count. It will actually improve your fertility as well. Right. The next one is Tongkat Ali. That's another one that will raise low testosterone. You have Tribulus terrestris, which might not raise testosterone, but will increase libido. So if you have signs of low libido.
Is that herbal?
Herbal. Mm-hmm. And then DHEA if you're older. If you're like a man over the age of 40, DHEA in the morning will probably raise your testosterone levels later on. So those are the ones. Now, here's the downside of these. They all help. I mean, I read a study on D-aspartic acid. It raised it like 45% in 30 days. And then people went off and it stayed elevated for 60 days or something like that after. But the effects seem to wear off. I've used them all. I've had clients use them all. They seem to have like a 60-day period, and then they kind of go back to their old symptoms.
You got to be pretty low for it to feel any effects, right?
And then the studies show, like with Tongkat Ali, low testosterone responds to this. But if you're like, kind of in the middle,
it's like
probably not going to do anything for
false.
Yeah.
that. Actually raises testosterone.
Yeah.
Stimulates the Leydig cells to
That's honorable
If you're
mention.
gonna do
'cause you
everything,
didn't put that in there.
honorable
That's an honorable mention, right?
yeah,
there.
that's actually reliable.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty reliable.
I remember
been
when our buddy
studied.
Mike did it, and he tested like before and after, and it was like he doubled.
He doubled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was impressive.